Merry Christmas. It's me, Kathy. Today we're going to make my sort of famous seafood lasagna. And I just want to go back and say that in the mid-80s probably, when imitation crab first came available on the market, I saw an ad for sea legs, a product called sea legs, and it was for a seafood lasagna made with the imitation crab. Now, being a huge food snob, I couldn't possibly make this with imitation crab. So I experimented around with different seafoods and stuff. What I ended up with was scallops in a Mornay sauce, which is a basic white sauce with Swiss cheese added, shrimp in a red sauce, layered between lasagna noodles, topped with cheese and baked in the oven. Easy and decadent, and I really hope you enjoy it. So we're going to make the Mornay sauce. We have some butter that we're melting in a saucepan. There's actually 5 tablespoons of butter here. Oh look, I left one of the pieces of paper in there. That's not good. So that's going to be warmed up nicely. We're going to season that with some salt and pepper. Nice kosher salt. And some cracked black pepper. And a little bit of nutmeg. I like to add, and a lot of people do, it's not just my idea, to add a little nutmeg to their cream sauces. It just gives it a little something more than just a cream sauce. And it's very nice, gives a lot of nice flavor. So we're going to stir that until the butter starts to bubble just a little bit. We're working over medium heat right now. And there we go. So now that we're bubbly, we're going to add 4 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. That's 2. And that's 4. And this is called a roux. You probably all know that. And you blend your butter in with your flour until it's nice and smooth and there's no lumps. You can use a whisk if you want, but you really don't need to. And I guess you can see in there. I'm not getting a good position. Get your hand out of the way, Kath. So you want something about that consistency. And you can let that cook down for 2 or 3 minutes to get the starchy flour taste out of the sauce. The more you cook the flour, the better off you are. In southern cooking, they actually cook the roux till it's brown, till the butter is brown, for things like gumbo and other stuff that they make with using a roux. Okay, we're in a pretty good shape. Today, right now, we're going to add 5 cups of milk. Sorry, 4 cups of milk. This will be all written down on the recipe on the website. And you want to constantly stir that till this mixture is thick and bubbly. Our sauce is starting to thicken up nicely now. Now when you're making a white sauce, or you're making any sauce with a roux, the sauce is at its optimum thickness when the mixture actually comes to a boil. So you need to be patient and stir and stir and stir until it actually boils, because if you stop it too early, it might get thicker or it might be too thin. So you want to wait till it comes to a boiling point, and then you can take it off the heat and finish it off. So right now we're just going to continue stirring till we're a little bit thicker. All right, getting nice and thick now. I'm going to bring you all in for a nice close view. Let's see if we can get a good view there. That looks good. And as you can see, the steam's coming off of it. It's probably steaming up the camera lens as we speak. And even if this is a little bit thin for a bechamel sauce, it's going to thicken up more when we add the Swiss cheese. But we still haven't come to a boil yet, so we're going to continue to stir. Back up with y'all. Now, when I say bring the sauce to a boil, I don't mean a rolling boil. As soon as you see a couple of bubbles, you're done. You want to take that baby right off the heat, because if you boil this for too long, it might, what they call break, which means that your milk might go sour or your sauce will become overcooked and it will break apart and it will look like it's all curdly. Sometimes your milk is tricky. So we're in a perfect consistency now. I'm going to bring this up to you this time so you can see how beautiful and silky that sauce is. And now we're going to add our Swiss cheese. To this much bechamel sauce, we're going to do a good couple of cups. Make it nice and cheesy. Stir that in until it's well blended. And this is the hardest part of this whole recipe. The rest of it is just a matter of assembly and baking. And we are going to move on to that momentarily. I'm going to put too much cheese. This sauce is a little bit thick. You can always thin it out with a little milk or cream if you find that's the case. Once you've added your cheese to your white sauce, or your bechamel or however you say it, you want to add a splash of sherry. Sherry goes nice with seafood. And you want to turn it off the heat and let it cool for a little while because you don't want to overcook your scallops when you put the scallops in the sauce. For this amount of sauce, a quarter cup of sherry is just about the right amount. So now we're going to assemble, and we're going to move our casserole dish a little closer, and the oven is preheating to 350 degrees. We're going to spray our casserole with a little pan spray, and because I like the white sauce, I'm going to put a little layer of white sauce on the bottom of our lasagna. If you prefer the red sauce, then you can use the red sauce instead, but I'm a fan of the white, so that's what I like. So just a nice thin layer in the bottom of your pan. Spread it out edge to edge, nice and evenly. Like that. Now we're going to do our first layer of noodles. I like to use the oven ready kind so that you don't have to boil them first. And you know, in commercial kitchens from commercial vendors, there's such a thing as fresh egg pasta sheets, which are very easy to use because they fit right in a lasagna pan. So we're just going to place some of these in here. And it's okay if they overlap because once they cook, they're going to all kind of meld together. Whoops, broken. Okay, so that's all right. And because we started with our white sauce, we're going to go directly to our shrimp in a red sauce. So you're going to take a pound of shrimp, peeled and deveined shrimp. The only shrimp I could find down here. I had to peel them, and I hate to clean shrimp, but whatever. So we're going to add just a little bit of, probably 3/4 of a cup of the red to the shrimp, and stir that around a bit. I'm not very well prepared today, am I? All right, so we're going to make that, and we're going to distribute that evenly over the noodles. You don't need much sauce. Your seafood is going to exude liquid of its own. And the lasagna noodles do absorb most of it. But you don't want your lasagna to be too wet, even though it's creamy and scrumptious and delicious. And we're going to place those in a nice even layer, moving out to the sides as much as you can get. And then we're going to go to our next layer of noodles. As we did before, we're going to put our layer of noodles over the shrimp. This is not a traditional size lasagna pan, so I do have to end up breaking it up a little bit to make it fit. And that's okay. Like I said, it's just going to all blend together in the long run. So now we're going to take our scallops that we've cut into, pretty decent sized pieces, and we're going to mix that up with our nice Mornay sauce. I can smell the sherry, it smells so good. And we're going to pour those right over top of our noodles. We're going to mix up our scallops with our white sauce, and we're going to pour those right over top of our noodles. And again, we're going to spread them out in a nice even layer. I can't wait to eat this. I haven't had this lasagna for years, because I haven't really been able to make it to sell it. Because we got a little bit of bare edges here, I'm going to add a little bit more sauce just to make sure that our edges get covered by the sauce. You want that to go out to the edge. And then another layer of noodles. And again, I'm a white sauce girl, so I'm going to top this with white sauce and a layer of mozzarella cheese. You can use red if you prefer. There, we're going to make that fit nicely. But so here we're going to spread our white sauce over our noodles. So creamy. So delicious. And you see how easy this is. It's just, you know, there's no mixing of ricotta, there's no nothing, and when you taste this, you're not going to believe how sinful and decadent it is. Okay, sauce on. Now, we're going to put on the cheese. I finish it with mozzarella cheese. You can use a little more Swiss if you want, or Parmesan would give it a nice little crust, but it would be a little strong in my opinion for the seafood. So it's just a good way to finish it off. Lasagna is supposed to have cheese on top, so gotta have cheese on top. Whoa. All right, we're gonna pop this in a 350-degree oven. I'm gonna check it in about 20 minutes. You know, when I cut the seafood up, just to add a little extra to what we're doing here, I like to leave the seafood partially frozen. If your seafood was frozen at all, I like to leave it partially frozen, because that way it won't overcook when you bake it in the oven. But here goes. We'll see when it's done. There it is. See how it's bubbling? So good. You're going to let that sit for a while before you try to cut it. And you're going to love the way it tastes and how easy it was. This one took about 28 minutes, by the way, just to make sure. You want a little bit of brown, a little bit of bubbly, and enjoy it. Oh, and Kelly says hi.